An important thing to ask ourselves when we're reading these ancient texts is, why this story? Why these details about this story? Because, long before these ancient texts were texts at all, they were oral tradition. People found the story valuable enough to keep telling it and telling it and telling it until finally it got written down. And then those who wrote it down found it important enough to copy and transmit all the way to us today. So what details are preserved and why in this story about Elijah, who was despondent? He was at the end of his rope. He was suicidal, frankly. He was in the middle of nowhere wanting to be dead. And he dragged himself to the mountain and went to the cave. Yes, that's an important detail that we get out of this story. The mountain that he goes to is the mountain where Moses encountered God, Mount Sinai. And not only that, it's the cave where Moses saw God. So Elijah takes himself to the place most likely to encounter God. And when he's there, he encounters earthquake, wind, and fire, traditional ways of understanding the voice of God. And God is in none of that. The voice of God does not come through, even though Elijah puts himself right at the center, at the heart of where he should hear God's voice. Wow. God's chosen prophet doesn't hear God's voice after doing all the right things. That's why the story is preserved. Because for you and for me, we need to hear that even those who do all the things that they should sometimes have to find new ways to hear God's voice. To hear God's voice as a still, small voice. In the finely powdered silence is the way the Hebrew understands this new way of encountering God that Elijah discovered. What new ways do you need to discover to hear God's still speaking voice? Where is the cave that you must find yourself in to know God's will for you?